Wow, that's actually really impressive because let's take a step back here. So you graduated with FE Environmental in 2003. You took the exam in 2020, February, and you took it in civil, which means structural design, structural analysis, geotechnical engineering, transportation, all these things you thought it yourself just by using videos and courses? Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Bonjour, guys. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm interviewing Jeff. Jeff recently passed his FE exam first try, and today he's going to share with us his FE experience, and we are going to talk about a wide variety of topics. So, Jeff, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to do this interview for like 4 weeks now, I think. When did you take your exam?
Yeah, it was February 22nd. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
and because of this pandemic that happened, and it's just so much has happened, and also you got sick right after your exam, so we never really had the chance to do this interview. But I feel like now it's actually a really good time to share this with students because a lot of people are have extra time studying for the FE exam, and a lot of people are preparing and they want to take the exam before July 1st because that's when the major changes are going to happen. So everyone right now is really trying to prepare for this exam. So I think this is going to help a lot of people, inspire them
hmm
and motivate them to keep studying and preparing for their tests. So really
Yes.
thank you for doing this with us.
Well, thank you for having me on it. It took a few tries, but we eventually got it.
Yeah, right? Okay. So let's start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself. When did you graduate and what was your major?
Actually, I graduated in 2003, so quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Um, and I graduated with an environmental engineering degree, Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Engineering degree from Michigan Technological University. Basically finished in about 2.5 years. I rushed through it, and I kind of took the 18 credit hours um, all year round, and kind of just kind of rushed through it, and I didn't really take my time, which I kind of wish I would have, because I did take the FE exam actually um, within the year that I graduated, and I got a 69 out of 70. And so I was just 1 point from the cutoff, and that really discouraged me. But yeah, so um,
Okay. Wow. What First of all, like that is really impressive. So you did your whole bachelor degree in 2 years and a
yeah, yeah.
half. Okay.
I had some credits from high school because I actually did college and high school at the same time. So I had probably like 30 credits,
Wow.
30 engineering credits. So it was kind of a tough winter up there, up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So I got really sick of the winters really quick, and so I said I'm gonna finish as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Plus, I just wanted to get on with life and get a job, and at the time I was wanted to get married and get the house and get everything else, but now I realize that I probably should have taken my time, but here I am now, and finally took it and passed it. So
Yeah. But this time, so the first time you took it was a year after you graduated. So that's probably about 2004. And you didn't take it at all till like recently in February. And when you retook it, that was like your first, like you took it the first time and you passed, right?
right, yeah, it was roughly what 16 years later.
Yeah. And you took FE Civil, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because you graduated environmental, but you took FE Civil. Why is that? Why
Well,
did
I
you?
was working. I was working as a trust design engineer basically, and working in construction, and I found a passion for that. So that's really where I want to go with my career is
Okay.
in structural. So I figured I should probably start studying for that information and that material, and get certified in that specific area.
Yeah. And I remember also you told me that you want to take PE structural. And
hmm
and that was actually really smart what you did, because a lot of the students, what they do is they would take PE Civil, and then they would choose whatever discipline, because under PE Civil you have geotechnical, you have environmental, you have structural, you have so many disciplines.
Right.
But a lot of some students, what they do is that they take FE other disciplines, and then they would take PE Civil. And usually I don't recommend that. If you're gonna take PE Civil or PE Mechanical, you should take FE Civil or FE Mechanical, because that's really going to prepare you for your PE. A lot of the
Right.
material on the FE you will see again in the PE, right? So
Hmm.
taking FE other discipline might not help you, because there are a lot of material there that is not really
Yeah.
going to see,
It's so broad. It's so broad. It's just,
right?
you,
Yeah,
you know, you can't cover everything
yeah,
and remember where everything's at on the CES reference manual. I mean, you can search it, but it's just, you have to be familiar with it, and you have to have, the timing down, and time is a critical factor.
yeah, correct.
So
Yeah,
I
and there
agree
are a
with
lot
you.
yeah, and there are a lot of topics that are not really in civil, like thermodynamics and heat transfer, and
Hmm.
it's not really necessary to know them either if you're gonna take PE Civil. So it
Right.
can be also a waste of time. Yeah.
Right.
So
Like the FE the environmental is a lot of chemical and heat transfer as well. So it's it's a lot of stuff that I'm really not interested in. Number one, and number two, um, it's just things that it's been so long, and what I've been working in the past couple of years, um, I'm more familiar with. So it's like, after 14 years, you know you don't really remember a lot of the specific chemical, physical chemistry and all that stuff. So
correct. Yeah. Now let's jumping into scheduling. How many months before the FE exam did you begin studying?
I started in September. Um, Basically, I just kind of worked my way into it and started studying maybe 5 to 10 hours a week, and got myself, reacquainted with how to study effectively. And then when I got closer to the exam, I started to ramp up my time to usually 15 to 20 hours a week. Usually, I had a schedule. I took your advice, wrote down a schedule, and had it right up on the wall, right next to my desk, so I could say, okay, so this is what I'm working on this week, and this is how many hours I'm going to put towards this week. I actually created an Excel spreadsheet to actually compare actual versus planned and everything else, to see, make sure that I was on target and everything like that. So, and you got to be honest with yourself, because if you're not, then you know you're not going to feel confident when you come into the test. So, yeah, and I just broke it down to each different section, and when I first started, I didn't have I I started with this Barron's FE Fundamentals of Engineering exam book that I've actually had for the last 14 years. I started on that, and I'm like, I just didn't feel like this was giving me really what I needed, So I started to look on YouTube, and I started a library in my favorites on YouTube, and I just started going through the, was it Gregory Michelson and Marshall University there, and a couple other people, and started going through that, and then I found you, and I liked how you had it was short videos, and you laid it out crystal clear and concisely. You spoke clearly. All your graphics were precise and easy to understand. So yeah, I found your modules to be very helpful. So
Okay, cool. So you've been studying since September, right? And then you took the exam on February. Did
mm,
you, first of all, I want to ask you, how did you get yourself motivated to start studying at the beginning? Because you haven't been probably studying since you graduated in 2003, and a lot of people like struggle with that, the starts, because you graduate and you even forget how to even learn information or how to study, right? So how
right.
did you get to that? And then also tell us a little bit about your journey from like September to February, because I know you postponed it because you had the surgery. And so tell
Right.
us a
Yeah.
little bit about that as well.
Yeah, it was quite the journey, I guess. I had carpal tunnel that was slowly coming on, more and more because I spent all day on the computer, and it just slowly started to wear on me, and I thought I could get through the exam with the carpal tunnel and just push through. And come exam date, the week before the exam date, I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to make it through this exam with my carpal tunnel the way it was. So I postponed it for another, I was supposed to take it in December actually. I postponed it until February 22nd. And doing that, I got the carpal tunnel surgery, and still was able to study, not able to write very much, but I was still able to study and absorb information. And so after, I think I had a week recovery when I took the exam, which was just enough to be able to make it through the exam. And then after that, I got the flu basically the day before the exam. So I was feeling, like it was quite one hurdle after the other, but I did feel like I was prepared with the material. Um, you know, after signing up with your course, I actually signed up with your course after I postponed the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 6 solid weeks of running through your module and doing the answers. Plus, you were there to help me with any questions I had, and it was really nice to have you there on hand to answer. I think I remember one of the questions was a Zero Force member, and I asked you, why is that a Zero Force member? And you sent me an email with 4 or 5 screenshots. I mean, I was just astounded at like the amount of energy you put into, solving my question for me. It was just amazing. So
Yeah.
I really felt confident after that, after your module. I mean, I think if I wouldn't have gone through FE bites, I probably wouldn't have been confident. And I really don't know if I would have passed, especially with the flu that I was suffering with at the time.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. I'm really happy that it helped. And I I do try to help my students as much as possible. So a lot of students would actually send me emails, questions, and yeah, I would spend extra time just like writing it down nicely and just try to explain it as much as possible, because going over those questions and clarifying them, that's going to give you the confidence to tackle any given problem. And
hmm
I also get really happy when you guys start asking questions, which means you guys are using your brains. You're not just processing and absorbing information, but you are asking questions like, why is this way? Or, and when you ask questions and you understand it, your brain starts making connections, and that's when you start learning and remembering information, right? So
hmm
that's a really important step. So that's why I'm very supportive, and I always encourage questions, because that's how you learn, right? Um,
right.
yeah. Now, the other question was like, how did you get yourself to start studying? Because you have been out of school for like so long. So how did you get that momentum at the
Oh,
beginning?
it was just determination, I guess. It was determination. I saw a vision for myself. I had this vision of what career path I wanted to follow, and I never thought I was going to actually be an engineer when I graduated. I worked in consulting for 3 years, and environmental consulting, and it was boring, and the travel was terrible, and the pay was low, and I got out of it, and I got into chemical sales, and I thought, that's it. I'm just going to follow the corporate path, and I don't need this FE exam, and I don't need this PE. And almost 20 years later, after finding myself, and finding what I do have a passion for, I just said, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do what it takes to do it. I'm going to follow your advice and make a plan and live a healthy life and keep my mind clear, and all of those things, meditate. You just do everything that you need to do to get it done, and
Yeah.
that's what I did. I
Yeah. So
just
you You kind of put it, that's like number one right now, and you were focusing on it. Everything that you've done, it was towards getting your FE exam for a few months, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and I
And I looked at it as that it's only 3 months of pain, 3 or 4 months of pain,
that's
and
true.
then it's over with, you know.
That's true.
And then you got to take the PE, and that's another 3 months of pain. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. But right now you probably feel like so much motivated to get your PE, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah.
And I think if it was just directly the PE, it would be more scary. I think having this FE as a step before you get your PE, it kind of
Hmm.
prepares you, like
Right.
mentally and like just to start studying and stuff. If you go from like no school for so many years and jump into the PE, that would be really challenging.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
really challenging. Like, I remember when I first opened the Barron's FE book and started looking at these problems, and I'm like, I don't even have a clue. I didn't even have a clue, but I just kept working problems and working problems, and especially once I started your module and I could see how they were worked through, and the strategy of how to solve a problem. That's number one, is like, you can use the same strategy to solve a problem over and over again. You just follow the advice of people that have done it before, and it's a method, it's a system, and you have to have that system down, or you're not going to be able to finish the exam in time or get enough problems correct to pass. So
Yeah, that's true. I think
mhm.
having like a method of how to approach as soon as you see a problem, that's really important because you're on the time here. So you have to make sure that you do it correctly, you solve it on time. And so you have to have that system that you're constantly using. You have to practice it when you're
Mhm.
studying. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about your preparation. Run me through a typical week of studying for the FE exam. Like, did you have a set of times where you would always constantly study, like either that in the morning or after work? Did you study during the weekend? Did you study more during the weekend than during the week? Like, how was your schedule?
Okay. Yeah. Usually it was, how I would study was, during the week I would work, usually till from 7 8 a.m. till about 5 or 6, and then I would take a little break and eat something, and then I would start studying from like 6:30 until 8:30, 9 o'clock. So like 2 hours during the weekday, and then on Saturday and Sunday I would put in the amount of time that I needed to reach my goal of 15 to 20 hours, which
Okay,
would be 6 or 7 hours each day. Sometimes less, sometimes 5 hours, but depending on what my schedule was, if I had something to do on Saturday, then I'd only study for 3 hours on Saturday, and then study, 9 hours on Sunday or something like that.
I see.
So
Okay. And would you take any breaks? Did you do any physical activities or anything like that to keep yourself going?
yeah, I did. I have to. I have to get physical exercise. My brain doesn't work right if I don't. And you gave the advice as part of your FE bites to keep getting exercise and eating healthy, and I think that's critical. Like, I think it's critical, more critical than people realize, um, to keep exercise and getting that fresh air, oxygen into your brain, so you can operate at 100% your total capacity. Because for me, I actually have an adult ADD. So if I don't exercise, like, my brain just turns to cobwebs, basically. So I have to exercise,
Yeah.
and I think it helps a lot as far as your memory too. If I see a huge difference in your memory when you
Yes.
exercise. So,
Yeah, I
you know.
agree. A lot of people underestimate exercising, and they've actually done a research, I think, in Harvard School, where
Oh
they
yeah.
compared a group of students who would study right after the gym. They would go to the library, and then they compared it to the students who didn't work out. And those students who actually worked out and then did study afterwards, they have actually done much better than the students who didn't work out. And that's
Hmm.
because, like, when you exercise, your brain absorbs the information much better, much faster. So exercising is really important and also eating healthy. I think when you eat healthy, like you get all the vitamins and nutrition to your body, and you don't have fogginess in your brain when you eat
Right.
healthy, right? And
Hmm.
then you have this focus and you have clarity. But when you eat when you don't eat well, you feel like sleepy and sluggish, and you can't really process information like as good as when you just feel healthy. So I think
Right.
they're very important when it comes like to studying or just in general in life. If you want to succeed in your career at work, or whether you're taking the FE or PE, this is just in general. I think it's really important to do both
Yeah.
of these things. Yeah.
Especially, as I'm not fresh out of school. I'm 40 years old, so I have to, as you get older, you have to follow those critical, like, health standards to be able to still maintain your energy throughout the rest of the day. Because if you don't do that, if you just binge on sugar all the time, you won't have the energy to do it. You just won't. You just be taking a nap,
Yeah.
and so everybody thinks that the sugar gives you an instantaneous little energy boost, and caffeine does too. But in order to sustain long day after long day after long day, you can't do it.
That's true. Yeah. Now, when you were, I'm not sure if I asked you this before, but when you started studying from September all the way to February, did you take any break in between, or was it like
Um,
studying?
I think I might have taken it, the week that I had the surgery, I kind of did take pretty much
I
a
see.
break. I didn't study a lot, so I did get a break there. And like Thanksgiving, yeah, I took a good 3 or 4 day break where I just didn't do anything to kind of recharge. So
Yeah, that's another thing. So recharging is really important as well when you're studying for the FE exam. So if you are constantly just like, studying for so many hours for so many weeks till your exam, by the time the exam comes, you're gonna be like just physically,
burnt out.
mentally just burned out. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important that you recharge. And I remember I sent you guys an email about how to recharge. So a lot of times when people hear recharge, they don't do activities that necessarily will help them recharge, and that can even impact them more and affect them and discourage them from going back to studying. So when you recharge, it's really important that you do like good stuff that's going to help you to actually recharge your energy. So
Right.
how did you recharge during this time?
Um, I would exercise and meditation
Okay.
basically was how I would recharge and just shut my mind off and try to think of absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like maybe spending a little bit of time with your son.
Yeah, I would do that too. Of course, yeah. Going to my son's hockey games was always, that's always, and taking my son skating or something like that. I actually play hockey with my son too, so um, those times it recharges you, but also reinforces the purpose of why you're doing this. I mean, when you have a son, you want to lead by example, and so it kind of gave me the drive to keep going.
Yeah.
He's a big influencer as far as what I'm doing with my life right now.
That's awesome. Did you know he probably knew you were studying for the FE exam, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
awesome.
He's 11 and curious, and he's always curious about what I do. And like after I passed the exam, like I picked him up. It was like I took the exam, and then I think it was a week or two later when I picked him up, and he immediately he's like asked if I passed my exam. That's the very first thing out of his mouth. So
Oh, that's nice. Oh,
yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
spending time with family and also so spending time with family is it also helps with recharging, because having connection with just, people in general and family is important for us.
Yeah.
And then I think also having like a purpose why you're doing this is really important to have, and remind yourself of that each time when you're trying to study, because this exam can sometimes be very discouraging to study for it. But if you have that very strong purpose like of why you're doing this, that's going to keep you keep you going and pushes you when you don't want to study. For example, like you said, your son, right? It's one of the
Exactly.
reasons you wanted to do this. And, each time you feel discouraged, you find that in you, why am I doing this? You remind yourself, and then it pushes you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to have, you know, either, a family member or, a picture of your goals posted on your wall and say, this is like, if you say, I want to be a principal at my engineering firm. And of course you have to pass the FE exam and the P exam in order to do that. Most people do. I mean, so you'd put your name with, principal / PE, and say, that's who I'm going to be, that's who I am, so, and eventually that manifests into reality.
Yeah, that's true. Now let's talk a little bit about material. So you mentioned that when you first started studying for this exam, you used a book that was 14 years old. Did you keep using that to like the exam, or
No, I dropped that book.
because it was
Yeah.
outdated, right?
Yeah, it was outdated, it was unclear, there was actually mistakes in it,
Oh
which
wow. Okay.
after I studied up and I was confident of my skills, I went back to the book and did a couple problems, and I found mistakes in it, and I said, well, no wonder, you know,
Yeah.
if there's mistakes in it, you're going to get stumped because it's not going to be correct. So, yeah.
Was there any other books did you use during that period, or is it just like YouTube videos and stuff?
No, I didn't use any other books. And a matter of fact, I just dropped the whole book idea in general, because I think having a video with somebody, engaging with you, and, especially when you start the video with a smile, and, it kind of brings up your mood, and you're saying, okay, so like you're engaged, and just the book is just paper, it's just having a video with somebody engaging you, and really keeping your morals up, your not morals, I guess, but your drive up, is really helps. It does helps a lot.
Yeah, it motivates you having someone like on the other side explaining and walk you to the solution, rather just having a book and just staring at it and not
Hmm.
knowing what to do, right? When you especially
Right.
get stuck. And so you didn't use Linder book, PPI book, none of that, because a lot of
None of
people
that.
use
No.
those books. You don't even have a copy. You didn't even buy
No, I
it.
don't. Nope.
Wow. So
Nope.
wow, that's actually really impressive, because let's take a step back here. So you graduated with FE Environmental in 2003. You took the exam in 2020, February, and you
Yeah.
took it in civil, which means structural design, structural analysis, geotechnical engineering, transportation. All these things you thought it yourself just by using videos and courses? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I just searched YouTube, and until I found your FE bites, I was just basically going through YouTube videos, and replaying them over, and then um, I would find sample problems, and sample sets, and test my skills after I watched a video. And but yeah, there was no books at all. You know,
Wow, that's really impressive. And did you take any practice exams?
I took I took half of the one that you sent me, actually. I
Wow.
took I took I took half of it, and I
Okay.
got, after halfway through, my carpal tunnel was acting up,
Oh, I
so
see.
so I could only finish half. That's when I made my decision. I'm like, I can't do this. I have to get the carpal tunnel surgery before I do the exam.
Okay.
And so I did half of it, and then I couldn't do any more. But after I took half of it, I think I calculated out about 70%
Okay.
correct, or 75% correct. And I'm like, okay, so at least I know I'm on track. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And that's it. That's the only practice exam you took.
that was it. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Cool. And then, so when you were studying, was there a particular place you like to study, like a cafe or library, or did you always just study at home?
Yeah, usually my kitchen table. I
Great.
just, or I actually sat in the recliner a lot with my laptop and just watched videos.
Yeah. Okay, now let's discuss some of your study techniques. So first, I want to actually ask you this. How did you study? So this one is really important. A lot of people are not sure like how to study, or how, when you are presented with a problem, do you attempt it first? Do you just watch the solution? How do you make sure that you're gonna remember the information for your exam? So did you have any like study techniques that you use?
Yeah. Actually, what I would do is I would watch your videos on FE Bytes,
Okay.
and I would watch the videos one day and play them a couple times, and then the next day I would go through and try the sample problems on my own. So it would take a 24 hours of saturating that material into my mind, and then seeing if I can recall it the next day.
Oh.
And then waiting a day, and then, okay, if I forgot something, then I just go back to the video. But I would try it all on my own the following day. So it basically, I would try to take in the information and the material, and then the next day try to just remember as much as I could. And then whatever I couldn't remember, I'd go back to the videos and just kept doing that. And I think that was really one of the big keys to my success.
Yeah, I think so, because when you first watched the videos the first time, you didn't write anything down. You were just watching the problems, watching the solution, and that's it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next day, you would attempt the problem by yourself and then see if you got it. And then the ones you didn't get, you would try them again the next day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually really cool, because so I have some students who are in the same situation, like who has been out of school for a while, and I think if you've been out of school for a while and if you try to attempt the problems at first, you're gonna feel discouraged and you're gonna feel stuck, and you're not even gonna know where to start, and because you forgot the information and you have no idea what this is about, right? But I
Right.
think it's really like, this is really cool, just watching the whole problems in one day, go to some of the problems, and then
Mm-hmm.
next day try them and see if you actually process all that information.
Right.
I
I
really
think it trains your brain to start
Yeah,
to hold on to information longer and longer and longer.
yeah,
So, and then I did notice too that when I first started watching the videos and then the next day doing the problem sets, I'd get maybe 50%, 60% of the way through before I'd have to revert back to the video. But then once it got up to the exam, I was just going through them, just and it built my confidence up, because my memory retention and then also the repetition, so it drives it deeper into your memory, So I think that's really key.
yeah. And how many times did you watch the FE Bytes course? I'm just curious.
Probably twice. So, I
Really?
mean, you mean the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing probably. Right before I took the exam, I reviewed all of it. I
Oh,
went through every single one and just watched the video. I
okay.
remember you saying, you should probably just relax and everything. And
Yeah.
so what I did is I got on the recliner and just sat back and I just watched the videos. So it didn't feel like work, and it wasn't burning me out.
Yeah.
So but I think that helped to just drive the retention even further. And then
Yeah.
to be honest with you, when I got to the exam, even though I had the flu, um, and I was miserable, I thought the exam was actually pretty easy, to be
Hmm.
honest with you. Like, I can say that now that everything is done.
Yeah.
But after I receive my passing grade, I'll say, oh yeah, it was easy. But, but, uh, but I actually did think it was pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. Maybe, because every exam's different. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's true. Or maybe you were just really prepared for it. Because
Yeah.
I feel like you really watched a lot of the problems, and you kind of just watched like the same problems over and over again and just made sure that like you know them. And doing that, you're gonna start solving them even faster. And
Mhm.
also when you watch videos, a lot of times like professors and teachers, or even me sometimes in my videos, I explain concepts as I'm going over the solution, and so not only you going over the solution, but also you're going over important concepts that might show up in your exam. So
Right.
Oh,
that part of your videos is in FE Bytes is different than a lot of people,
I
you
see.
know, that you see on YouTube, where it'll just be one long, um, 30-minute session where they'll go over several problems, but they won't really just review the concepts while they're actually in the video like you do.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Okay. Well, so I guess for my course, I cover the concepts as well, and so I think that really like kind of maybe prepared you better for the test. So when you got in there, it was easier because a lot of the stuff you kind of already seen before. So it was not a lot of questions that were new to you. So maybe
Right.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any study habits that you found not to be effective? I think you talked about this a little bit earlier when you said like having books, you found them not effective, and that's why you didn't really use any books, you just stick to videos.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other like study habit that you found not to be effective?
One thing, I guess I could frame it as, what I did find to be effective was for math. Math is, it's one, especially the longer you're out of school, the longer it's,
Yeah.
so there's certain things in math that I was never good at, like Taylor expansion series, you know, just certain, like curl and divergence. I can grasp some of that stuff, but there's just some concepts that are in differential equations that I don't think I was ever going to get, and so I just didn't waste my time on that,
I see.
you know, and I said, okay, there might be some questions of it on the exam, and I'll just guess on those. But I do want to make sure that I do have, like, slopes, curves, integrals, that, and it turned out, there wasn't anything on the exam that I didn't already cover in FE Bytes,
Yeah.
maybe one obscure, you know, Laplace transform or something, but,
Yeah.
you can take your chances on that.
Yeah.
I did anyway, and it worked.
Yeah, I think that's true. Sometimes you just gotta pick like your battles. You can't cover every single thing that is on there, but what you can focus on the stuff that you know for sure it's gonna be on your exam. And
Hmm.
some questions, like the ones you mentioned, I don't think they ever actually showed up on the exam, like divergent curls and stuff like that. Maybe
Yeah.
diversion, gradients. I think gradient more
Gradient. Yeah.
common. I
Hmm.
actually just posted a problem on that on the course, like
Oh,
because you already know I'm always updating my course and I'm always uploading. If you actually log in now and you go to the math section, you're gonna see a lot more problems than when you.
oh, great.
So I added a lot of
Great.
problems. Yeah. So
Good
I'm
job.
excited. Yeah. Thank you. So I pretty much completed like math, statistics and probability and computational tools, I think. And
Great.
now I'm working on engineering econ. But yeah, I'm really excited how it turned out. Like
Wow. So that's all still, you're adding more and more material to FE Bytes now?
oh yeah, for like
That's great.
yeah, it's still not complete. So that's why I haven't launched the afternoon session yet because I want to complete the morning. Just make sure that the questions that you will see for sure, I want to have them in my course,
Hmm.
And those that show up like I don't know once in like 3 months or 6 months, they're not really worth having there. And
No,
also like even for you, like learning the information, just having that extra information, and there's 90% you might not even see it, there's no need, right?
don't even, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the problem with the books. So a lot of the books and like some courses, what they do is that they would just have a lot of stuff in it, and it doesn't mean you have a good like resources. So
Hmm.
it's quality versus quantity. You might have a lot of quantity, but it doesn't mean that's going to really prepare you for the exam. So that's what you need
Right.
to really watch out for, right? So
Yep.
I mean, the books, sure, they cover great problems and stuff, but are those problems going to prepare me for the exam? And that's what a lot of people need to ask themselves, right? So,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's
I
what,
think the books, like, they give you a wide scattered breadth of everything,
yeah,
and there's really no focus on number one, like how to tackle a problem, or number two, like the information isn't focused. It's just a wide breadth and of scattered problems, and you you might know how to do that one specific problem,
Yeah.
but if you don't really have the concept down, you're not going to be able to pass the exam.
Yeah, that's true. So, was there anything that you would have done differently?
I would have started studying in the morning, rather than, before work rather than after work, because I think you have just your more energy to put towards studying than, after work, after a long day. You just don't have as much retention after you've been using your mind, especially if you've been using your mind all day, and then you got to go study. You just don't have the energy there for it, or the retention. So I think I did study in the morning a couple, I would say maybe 10 times total, but I wish I would have forced myself to wake up early, at 5 a.m. and study before work. Then I would have gotten out of the way, and then I'd have nothing to worry about the rest of the day. I could just do my job and then relax. So I think that might be more effective than waiting till after work to study.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I actually interviewed Tushar. I'm not sure if you saw his video, but I just posted it last week, and he actually said the same thing. So he would actually wake up in the morning and he would study in the morning before work, and he found it to be more effective than studying after work because he said there's less distractions in the morning. Nobody's texting you. You're not getting any Facebook messages, and
Right.
you can't wake up early and just not do anything. So you wake up
Mm-hmm.
early, your brain, you still have a lot of willpower and you can control yourself to study, right? Because
Right. Right.
willpower is like a battery. It starts
Yeah.
to die as the day goes by. As you use it, at the end of the day, you have no willpower. So by the time you
Right.
get home, you really have to force yourself. And there's this argument between you and yourself, like, should I study?
Yeah.
Should I study, right? And
Yeah.
so, and
And you
because,
have it weighing on your shoulders all day that at the end of
yeah,
this, I got to study. Plus,
exactly.
I think your brain, it's kind of an analogy, like your brain is like a hard drive with random access memory, RAM, and
Yeah,
you saturate yourself with so much information throughout the day, it fills up your random access memory, or your RAM, so you don't have as much at the end of the day. Where if in the morning, you got a full drive ready to go.
that's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah.
That's a really, so if you guys can't actually study in the morning, yeah, I think that's actually gonna help a lot. Yeah, especially
Hmm.
if you have a long day at work. Okay.
Hmm.
Was there anything specific that you did that helped you stay motivated while studying for the FE exam?
Nothing other than just keeping in mind my long-term goals for my career, and my son, and being a good role model and setting a good example for him. Um, yeah, that was about it. I mean, and not. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, getting exercise keeps you motivated because it gives you energy to keep motivated. But I think I set out on the journey that I wasn't going to give up, and that I wasn't going to get discouraged, and that I was going to do this, and it was good. I was going to do whatever it took, and I did. So you gotta have that mentality that I'm going to do this, and this is going to happen, with no self-doubt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, having that kind of mindset, like it's very important. Like, and even if things doesn't work out, you take it first time, you fail, just keep going. Don't even think about it as failure, right? It's just like
Right.
you're just getting more closer and closer to success because everything that you've learned, you're gonna use that again for the next try, right? It's not like you
Hmm.
just wasted the whole time. So it's okay as long as you keep going, you have that determination that you're not gonna give up, and this is gonna be your goal that you will achieve. That's what's important at the end of the day, is that you pass it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciated your kind words right before the exam. That I was getting a little nervous, and a little bit of self-doubt did start to creep in. And then I was thinking that, how you said, even if you fail, you just take it again. You just take it again, and it's not really failure. It's just you're getting more acclimated to what the exam is like, and how the problems look, and what material you might need to study more, and what material you might have a good grasp on. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, now let's explore a little bit the day before you took the F exam. I know you just said you were feeling a little bit nervous, but after you got that email, did you feel like much better? Did you feel more calm? Were you stressed?
The day of the exam, you
The
said, or
day
the day
before
before?
the exam.
Oh, the day before.
Yeah.
When you just said just relax and just don't do anything, get some exercise and everything. So I did. I think I did remember um, getting. No, actually, no. I the day before I had about 2 o'clock in the afternoon is when I started to get the flu, and I actually laid down and I was feeling terrible, and I took a nap for maybe 4 hours. And then I woke up and I said, "Well, I got to do something." So I just sat on the recliner and watched those videos, and that's about the extent of it.
Wow.
And actually, in my mind, I was thinking, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting sick." That's when the self doubt hit. But then I turned it around. And I'm like, if I don't pass, at least I got an excuse. At least I can say, if I didn't pass, oh, it was because I was sick.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
That's
you always
funny.
got to look to turn things around sometimes.
And how much sleep did you get the night before the exam?
Night before, I got a good 8 hours of sleep.
You did? Okay. Now let's dive into the day of the exam. When you got there, how were you feeling?
Terrible. My throat was sore. I could barely talk. I had a bottle of chloroseptic that they actually allowed me to take
Okay.
in Kleenex. So I had chloroseptic and Kleenex that they actually allowed me to take in, which I thought it was great. Um, and I drank some coffee and ate a good breakfast, and then just said, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And went into the exam. And it's a little shocking when you go into the exam because, when I took it, I don't know, 15 years ago or more, they didn't have biometrics. They didn't have, all of the different, things and security measures that they do now. Like,
Mm,
now you're in your own little cubicle and cameras on you all the time. And, there's several cameras on you, and it's a totally different experience now. And so, like, that was a little bit of a shocker. Like, it felt like I was going into some like high security federal facility or something. Yeah.
funny.
But I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, I was happy that they made an exception for my chloroseptic and my
Yeah.
Kleenex. But yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it is. They're very like serious there. Like you can't take anything with you. I remember there was this guy I think with me. Yeah, I think it was actually the day when I was taking the exam. He had like this big jacket and they didn't allow it. And they were
No.
like, and he was like, I'm gonna get cold. And they were like, get a lighter jacket. So he actually had to go to his car and get a lighter jacket and then
Oh,
or a sweater. I think he got a sweater. Yeah, I think
yeah.
that's what it was. And then they let him in. But I think they do that for like, cheating and all sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
how much time did you spend per question? And then did you actually track your time?
Yeah. I went through the methodology that you had said, as far as go through them and find ones that you think you can get right away, and
Mm-hmm.
flag the ones that you can't. So I used your methodology as far as ranking of ones you can figure out right away. Do those. Flag the ones that you're going to be able to get, but they're long, and then the ones that you just have no idea that you're going to guess on. So
Yeah.
I just followed that, and I did kind of. I guess I wanted to make sure that I had the first um, 55 questions or whatever done before the 2 hours and 40-minute mark. But other than that, I didn't really time myself. No,
I see.
I think it just adds pressure to me. Like, you know, because it might take you might be 6 minutes on one problem, but then the next two you get in the first 30 seconds. Something like that. So
Yeah, that's true. So you pretty much tried not to think of time too much. All you wanted to focus on is like, I should finish the morning session in like 2 hours and 40 minutes. Is that what you?
hmm
Okay. And then you followed the how to flag uh, questions strategy that I sent you over email, correct?
hmm
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, after I went through the ones that I knew I was gonna get,
yeah.
that I was really confident on, and that I knew it wasn't going to take very long. Then I went through the ones that I knew were going to take longer, but I had somewhat of a grasp on how to do it. And some of them would take longer, but a lot of them were just within a minute, or 2 minutes, and you had it, so. It all averages out. So I never really stressed myself like, oh, that problem took 4 minutes and 55 seconds. And then you add compound stress on top of it, So yeah, that one might take you 4 minutes and a half, but the next two might take you 30 seconds. So don't stress because it just took you 4 minutes to do that one.
That's true. So how many questions did you have to guess, and do you have a guessing strategy?
I figured it out. After I was ready to submit for the exam, I figured out, I think I guessed on a total of like 26 total. But in the morning, I only had to guess on like maybe 4 in the morning.
Wow.
And then, but the afternoon, I had to guess on over 20, I think. But everyone that I didn't know, I just guessed B, the same one, just, because statistically you have a better chance to get the right answer if you guess the same one over and over again.
Yeah, I agree. I think it works because a lot of students recently who pass, and after talking to them, that's what they do. They pick a letter and they stick to it throughout the exam, and they always guess that letter, and it seems like it's working. Yeah. Are there any areas that were particularly difficult you wish you would have studied more?
The beam design was tough. The steel beam design and the concrete reinforced beam design, I wish I would have kind of delved into that material a little bit more.
I see. There were a lot of questions on those topics. They always show up.
Yeah, and they were so long too. There was finally one where I'm like, I could probably figure this out, but I'm not going to take the 10 minutes to figure it out. I'm just going to guess on it. So.
Are there any concepts or topics that stuck out to you?
There was a lot of geotech, and there was a lot of hydrology, and a lot of statics. So that's pretty typical.
Are there any topics that were easier than you expected?
Yeah, math actually was a lot easier than I expected. There was actually one that was just like a simple equation of a circle, and I second guessed myself because I was like, it can't be this easy.
Which sections had a large amount of conceptual questions?
The ethics was a lot of conceptual, scenario based. And environmental section does too.
Yeah.
It also has some conceptual questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything that you would like to add to your FE experience or your FE exam just in general, or which topics did you have the most questions on the FE exam?
It was mainly statics, geotech, math, and it just seemed like there was a lot of fluid mechanics, a lot of hydrology, a lot of statics.
Yeah.
And then some math sprinkled in there, some ethics sprinkled in here, and some environmental sprinkled in there. But it seemed like as long as you had those down, you had a higher chance of passing the exam.
Yeah.
Because like I said, a lot of like the environmental, a lot of those were like conceptual, and then the ethics is scenario based, and sometimes seems like it's just common sense,
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up about fluid mechanics. So fluid mechanics is a tricky one because on the specifications it says you get between 4 and 6 questions, I think, but a lot of times you get way more. Like on my exam, I think I got like maybe 8 of fluid mechanics. Like I had so many of them, and so I'm glad you brought that up because you actually a lot of times they do ask a lot of fluid mechanics questions. Yes.
I think they'd like join the hydrology, fluid mechanics, geotech all into one big, one big area, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but it did seem like there was far more fluid mechanics than like you said, the 4 to 6. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's true. And then and now actually they're changing it for the FE exam because I'm not sure if you're aware, but the FE exam is gonna change after July 1st. and now they
Oh,
actually increase fluid mechanics between, I think, 6 to 8. So you do get more questions on fluid mechanics, and that's how it should be right now, because that's all
yeah,
the questions
yeah,
we get, anyways.
yeah.
And then
Right.
yeah, and then they also combined hydrology, hydraulics, and environmental in one area.
Okay, so what I just said is basically what they're already starting to do. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly. So there's been like some interesting changes on the next FE exam. So
Hmm.
are you planning on taking the PE anytime soon?
Yes, I'm taking in October.
Okay. Yeah, that so like we were talking about earlier. So the April PE was canceled because of COVID. So on October you might expect a lot of students who are going to be taking the PE and the SE as well. So that's going to
Hmm.
be a tricky one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and the more students that take it, with the law of large numbers, the I guess the more chance you have of passing the exam. So
Oh,
that could be a good thing.
yeah.
So for those that are maybe discouraged that the FB is canceled now and have to wait, I guess the more people that take the exam, the better off you are as far as chances of passing it. So it's
Yeah.
it's it, it's a little bit of a setback right now, but it'll all work out in the end.
Yeah, that's true. And then also for the UPE, when you start studying for it, just keep in mind that you can always refer back to the course, because you get a lifetime access once you purchase it. So you can always review fluid mechanics, mechanics of materials, and also like on the PE and their specifications, they don't really have engineering econ, but sometimes they do show a
Oh,
question on that.
wow,
So yeah, so just make sure you watch out for that. You might just get like one question,
that's
and
good
then
to know.
yeah, and then also like I am going to launch, hopefully like in a month or so, the afternoon session course that's going to cover more like structural analysis, structural design, geotechnical engineering, and so
All
all
right,
those topics will be in your PE, so you can always
great.
do that as well.
Well, I plan on probably going back and just and refreshing FE bytes as well,
Yeah. Okay.
because like you said, a lot of the material is still a lot the same. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great.
but thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Now, do you have any closing remarks for engineers who are trying to pass their FE exam?
I guess I could say, the first time that I took it, everything seemed rushed. And it seemed like I wanted to rush to graduate. I wanted to rush to get this done. I wanted to rush to get that done. And, I felt like I was old ripe old age. I think I was 21, and I thought I was old, and I wasn't. Here I am, 40, and I just figured out what I want to do with the rest of my life, I guess. But I think, you got to set a timeline, but don't feel like you have to also rush it and put that extra added pressure on yourself. Like you've got the rest of your life. And if you don't pass it this time, just take it again, just keep studying and you're going to eventually pass it, as long as you just don't give up. Like you say, just don't give up. Keep keep your head held high, and you know get a plan. And signing up for your FE bites, I really really think that if I didn't have that extra 6 weeks, I really don't know if I would have passed. If I would have taken it in December, I don't know if I would have passed. So maybe it was a blessing that I had carpal tunnel. So I had to delay it 6 more weeks so I could sign up for FE bites and really lock down my confidence and my strategy. And you also give lifestyle um, tips and everything else. So it really, really helped. And also, I would say is that if you graduate with, I graduated with a BS in environmental engineering. I spent 4 years in that field, and I realized it wasn't for me. And then I went through different other fields, chemical sales engineering and IT and everything else. And finally came back to what I finally found that I really really like, and is structural. And even though it took that long, um, and it took a big journey to get here, like you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into a career if you don't see yourself spending the rest of your life in that career. You don't stay in a career for 5-6 years if you can't see yourself being happy after 20 years and being a principal of that company or starting your own consulting or whatever. Just get out. It's not too late. You're not too old to go back and have new challenges and be able to face those challenges and conquer. You can do it. So, yeah, number one, just don't rush yourself, but also have a realistic time frame. Number two, don't feel like you're pigeonholed in a certain career. You can always move on to different avenues and different horizons. So that's what I would give younger people taking the FE, and even if people are in mid-career. I mean, if I can do it after 17 years with no college in between, and I also failed it the first time, so that was, I mean, I failed it by 1 point, but I failed it the first time. And then after 17 years, if I can take it and then also pass it while I have the flu, anybody can do it. So,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for all the tips and everything that you shared with us today. It's really
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your story is very inspiring, and I hope it's going to help a lot of students to keep studying, especially at this moment right now. A lot of people are preparing for their exam because of COVID. Everyone has this extra time, and everyone want to take it before July 1st, before the major changes. So I hope this is going to help a lot of students with their preparation. So thank you so
I
much
hope so too.
for your time. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks. And hey, even if you do get sick, you can still take it and pass it. I'm proof.
Great. Thank you, Jeff.
All
Take care.
right. Thanks.
So Jeff has shared some amazing tips with us today, and I really hope those tips are going to help you prepare better for your FE exam. If you want to know about the changes that are going to happen after July 1st, 2020, I recommend that you watch the video that I posted last week. I will leave the link above there in case you haven't checked it out. So that's it for today's video. If you guys like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every Tuesday. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck with your studying, and I will see you soon. À la prochaine.
Oh yeah, everybody now.